Good evening and welcome to the Citizens Forum. It is March 7th, 2023 at 6:45 p.m. We do have one person signed up to speak. You will have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address when you come to the podium. We have Kim Gentry.
Well, my name is Kim Gentry at 1047 Waldron Road, and I'm here tonight to address BOMA in regard to the purchase-sale agreement for 5175 Murfreesboro Road, which is the Noon real estate company transaction. As a realtor, and since the last workshop, I've reached out to commercial realtors in my office to confirm my initial opinion from what I heard at the workshop. My summary, in case I run out of time, is first, that the Noon real estate transaction is definitely one of interest, but needs to be evaluated based on an accurate appraisal, then renegotiated with contract specifications and contingencies to lock down exactly how the property is to be used and the timeline for doing so. In the last 2 months, we've heard concerns over an appraisal valuation of the Piedmont easement for $11,000 and that we might be losing or getting ripped off. But yet we're not willing to look at a current appraisal for a transaction that exceeds over $1 million. The tax appraisal on this current parcel, which typically runs 20 to 25% less than the market, is $1.1 million, putting the possible valuation at $1.3 to $1.65 million. This was as of October of 18 sale. No, sorry. This is supported by an October 2018 sale of the Washitopia property, which sold at market value of 32% more than the tax appraisal. The cost of a new appraisal, which is typically rather expensive for commercial property, however, could be insignificant to the added value received by the city. The leaseback option discussed that we're getting it for $1 for 12 months, and the fact Jamie has to bulldoze the existing building are really moot points to the city in today's market. It's not our problem what he has to do with the property. We have to get the value that is due to the city. The city building is barely started, the new building, so there's no rush to move stormwater, and in the 9 to 12 month period, this parcel is not going to devaluate. Another issue that was brought to my attention that needs further investigation is that Jamie mentioned he had letters of intent for 4 out of 5 units for the marketplace. Which unit has not yet received letter of intent? Is it the smallest one? Is it the biggest one? There's also a saying that there will be $1 million in tax revenue saving. Has Mr. Broker provided, calculated, and been able to submit to you the best and worst case scenario for the actual savings that this property would bring? Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the Citizens Forum. We will begin again at 7 o'clock. Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting. It is March 7th, 2023. It is 7 p.m. I call this meeting to order. The prayer will be with Alderwoman Haas, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be with Alderman Waldron. If everyone would please rise for the prayer and the pledge.
Our Father in heaven, thank you for the beautiful days that you have given us and given us the time to clean up from the windstorms and the weather of the past few weeks. Father God, thank you for keeping everyone safe, and thank you for keeping our local law enforcement and fire department and EMS safe. Father, please lay your hand of healing and comfort over our city and keep everyone safe in the future. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to approval of the minutes for the February 7th, 2023 public hearing and regular meeting. A motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Alderwoman Haas. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Alderwoman Hobbs. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Moving on to presentations. on down here. We've got a few tonight. So first off, can I get the Laverne basketball boys team to come on up? All of you, come on up. And then can I also get Commissioners Davidson and Oliver to come on up as well? They're going to help me out with this. And guys, y'all can come on around. We've got plenty of room over here. Give you some of these. So, coaches, come on up. So, each one of you have one of these certificates because I want you to be able to take it home, keep it, but we do have one for the whole team as well. And so the city of Laverne, Tennessee recognizes the Laverne High School boys basketball team for winning the district champions Division I boys basketball Class 4A and continuing to strive to not only be the best team, but be the best students and role models for your peers at Laverne High School. So, congratulations, men. Coach, you want to say anything?
Thank you, first of all, for inviting us here. The guys really worked hard this year, but the first thing that we had this year was trying to give back to the community by the book bag drive that we did. I think it was one of the first ones in I guess in Rutherford County as far as the high schools is concerned. So we're just trying to, give back to the community, and the guys just really worked hard. We were short this year in going to MTSU for the state championship, but I know the guys and the younger guys will work hard to try to get there in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for everything y'all do. Thank y'all. Okay, moving on to departmental reports. Police Department, Chief Hatcher.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. This evening, I'm going to present the February statistics that we have on our crime report. For the month of February, we had 7 burglaries, 4 auto burglaries, 6 motor vehicle thefts. 6 of those vehicles were recovered, or 3 of them were recovered. 1 robbery, 10 assaults, 21 domestic assaults, 32 verbal domestic reports, 29 thefts, 9 overdoses. So year to date, 11 burglaries, 13 auto burglaries, 16 motor vehicle thefts, 10 of those recovered, 2 robberies, 15 assaults, 42 domestic assaults, 64 verbal domestic reports, 37 thefts, and 13 overdoses. The same holds true as was for January, both residential and commercial burglaries. And the vehicle burglaries, they were primarily targeting vehicles that were unlocked, and 1 was an actual forcible. 3 of those were in the Holland Ridge and Tom Haley area, and again, still occurring between the evening and early morning hours. Going over to our activities, we had 3,149 calls for service responded to, 669 traffic stops, resulting in 108 total arrests, 11 warrant arrests, 10 domestic violence arrests, 18 DUIs, and 15 drug-related violation arrests. Our ALPR system, known as the Blue Sentinel, scanned 1,785,346 license plates, resulting in 4,753 alerts, which led to, again, stolen vehicle recoveries, stolen license plates, missing persons, and wanted persons located. Excuse me. Our traffic-related incidents for the month were 72 total crashes, 63 resulting in property damage, 9 which resulted in injuries of 10 persons. And the high areas, again, were Waldron and Murfreesboro Road intersection and Industrial Boulevard. Any questions?
Were y'all able to make any headway on the information I'd given you as far as the race clubs with the 615 license
615
plate
swim.
being able to try to beat the Blue Sentinel program and other ones throughout Middle Tennessee?
We put that into our system, and we went back and did a data search of about 2.5 weeks, and we've had no contact with any. So far, and it's already logged in there, so if it does come across our ALPRs, it will hit.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Of the number of overdoses, which ones ended up in death?
None so far.
None, that's good.
We're very fortunate.
And one more thing, I've been seeing some new signs going up across the city about locking your cars.
That's correct. The request was to put up the public service announcements for locking your vehicles and securing everything and taking it in the house, and don't leave it in your car. And we've got those posted at several different places within the city, and we're going to ask for some more as well.
Have we got some new of those, hello? Have we got some of those new electronic speed signs around?
Yes, sir.
Is that, I've been seeing them.
We have 4 that are going to be in permanent locations, and then we have 2 that are still mobile. Those are in the process of being put up by Public Works now. And we're going to, again, put some more up because we want to make sure that we cover all sides of the city with those.
Good deal.
Chief Hatcher, I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for your leadership during this time as we kind of transition through some difficult things. I want to thank you, our other officers that we have in law enforcement, but just thank you so much for standing by our community.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to the fire department, Chief Beasley.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. Trust that you've had an opportunity to review the monthly report for the fire department. You can see that we had a few less runs than we did the previous month. If you look at the 2022 numbers, we're pretty much on track for the February numbers. So there's definitely a trend of something that happens in February that decreases our run volume. Anything else in there is within the norms. I would like to draw attention to what the 2 from the bottom or 3 from the bottom on the box on courtesy inspections. Our firefighters are out in the streets every day right now doing courtesy inspections or pre-fire plans. And that is a process that we look at a building from the interior and exterior, understand what the dangers are of the building to civilians and rescue efforts and to us as firefighters and our safety. I believe, if I stand correct, we did have a pre-fire plan on City Hall today, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So we take care of all the buildings within the city. Any questions?
I've been getting a lot of calls on, they saying no action on 283 Old National Highway. And I tell them, I say, well, it's probably just too muddy.
Yes, sir, it is exceptionally muddy. We had a study completed about 3 weeks ago on the soil to determine whether if it was suitable or not for construction. As we do know, and we've learned that there are 2 previous buildings on the site before the Civic Center. So that was 3 buildings that had been on that site prior to our construction project. So we did do an additional study to the soil. Essentially, it is suitable as a whole, but it is just exceptionally wet. You should, per our meeting yesterday with our project manager and contractor, you should start to see some equipment move into the property Monday. Again, it's supposed to rain, I believe, Monday as well. But they should start moving some dirt around, putting some rocks on the ground so they have some platforms to park heavy equipment. So when the time does come for the slab to be laid, we'll have that process, everything in place for it.
Still on track, though, for May of next year. Is that right?
May of 2024 is our number from yesterday's meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Mr. David McGowan.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, thank you. You guys have the parks numbers for the month. Don't have a whole lot for you this month. You can see our help desk tickets, 88, 616 man hours devoted to those. Upcoming events, April the 1st is going to be our Easter drive-through at Veterans Park. Starts at 9 a.m. Senior Center past events, you can see the Valentine's Dinner and Dance. They had several lunch outings. Upcoming senior events, they've got a lunch at Cheddar's on the 17th. The DMV is actually coming to the Senior Center on the 24th to add the star to the driver's license. I think the time theirs maybe starts at 9 to 4. I would have to double check that to make sure. April 1st, we want to throw that out there. GNRC is coming to the Senior Center. We will be hosting their spring conference at our Senior Center here in Laverne. Upcoming meetings, March the 20th, Senior Center Advisory at 4:30, Park and Rec at 6, and the Historical Preservation at 7. Just for future, throwing it out there, April 29th, the seniors will be hosting their annual yard sale. Any questions?
David, I've had a couple of people ask me, and I try to explain it. Why are we doing the drive-through instead of out in the field like we used to?
Well, and it's always something we can look at going back. We brought this back up to the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, and the feedback we got there was all positive moving forward with the drive-through. We kind of like it. Every child walks away with something instead of a mass rush of just throwing them out on the field. Some kids don't leave with anything. Parents always try to take the advantage and kind of kick the golden egg to the side. This kind of avoids all of that. We're definitely not opposed to going back to the traditional way. But you know, when you open up those ball field gates, it's just a mass rush, which, I mean, we can do that. We'll definitely bring it back before the Parks Advisory Board because we kind of like to take our direction from them without making those decisions, without getting their input first. It's been positive for us. You know, it was COVID related. It was something we could do to move forward. We were one of the only communities in this area that was having anything related to Easter once COVID hit several years ago. The turnout was so well, and it was so well received by the public, we just continued to move forward with it. So what started out as a avenue of convenience for us to give something back to the community just kind of rolled over. So I think we're in our 3rd year now. But yeah, we can definitely bring it back before the Parks Board and see which direction they want to go.
Well, as chairman of the Parks Board, I think it's a home run. Like you said, everybody gets something. There's no pushing and shoving. There's no number one, everybody's equal. Everybody gets the same thing. But just wanted to hear it from you.
And the library's good about partnering with us on that event
Yes, they
also.
are.
So they are. We do like it. Every kid is getting something, and that's our main goal, to make sure everybody's trying to take care of. It's no fun when you put on an event as a Parks Department and a city, and then you see kids walk away that are unhappy. So yeah, we can definitely look at going back to the traditional way in the future. Like I said, we kind of like to take our direction from the Parks Advisory Committee to include them and move forward with those decisions.
This is just a thought, but have you thought about doing maybe like a walkthrough option or something like that, similar to the Halloween? That way it kind of promotes people getting out of their car and socializing, sense of community with that.
We have not thought about that, but that is a good suggestion. So we'll definitely take, you know, I don't know, we have good and bad. You know, you're going to have those people that want the traditional way that we used to do it, and then you're going to have people that prefer how we're doing it now. So we're trying to find that happy medium. The last several years it's been good. It may have run its course, I'm not sure, but if it starts at 9 o'clock, they're lined up by 8 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So it's been pretty successful for us so far. Mm-hmm.
And I just want to add to Vice Mayor No and Alderman Hobbs. I've been out there working the traffic control, and some parents can't get there with their kids at 9 o'clock in the morning. And when you open the gates up at 9 o'clock in the morning, everything is done by 9:15 at the latest. So then some parents show up at 9:30. Well, this was supposed to be until 10. You know, so therefore, once again, there are some children that don't get it, where this way, with the drive-through, or like Alderman Hobbs said, you know, a possible walkthrough, there is the opportunity for every child to get something in. Like I said, when I'm out there helping guide the traffic, the kids are excited, the parents are excited, and then they get to see the Easter Bunny, and it's really an overall positive event.
Right. And I do kind of like that. That is a great idea. We could definitely pursue that. That's an avenue we haven't even thought about actually before. I do
Weather
like the
permitting, of
interaction.
course, that's always the hang-up, but, yeah.
I know the PD, when they help us out in that event in the past, and Port Cherie's been trampled many times. As soon as that gate opened, it's just a flood of kids. So we'll definitely explore different options in the future and bring those back before the Parks Board. Any other questions?
Yeah, I like the walkthrough idea on Easter like we do on Halloween. It's really fun for the people at Halloween. I think it'd be a great deal that the parks to look into.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and of course, we'd have to get the community involved because you have that many kids, you know, there's no way that the parks or the library could supply enough on their own to pacify that many people.
I think with the drive-through thing, the parents are controlling the children and everybody, whether something's wrong with the parents and they can't walk and stuff, the children come. I'm afraid if we get into a walkthrough, which is a good idea, but I think you're going to find that it's just mostly a lot of kids and no control with the parents, and you're going to get back into the opening the gates with the letting them run after the eggs. All good ideas, but I think in this case it ain't broke, and it's been great. Let's don't fix it, but if it runs its course, then we could do something.
Hey, y'all's name's on my check, so I'm gonna do what you asked me to do.
I like that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, David. Moving on to the library, Ms. Donna Bebout.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, good evening. Very excited to say for the month of February, we broke the 2,000 for attendance. We had 3,960. I'm very, very excited about that. It was a short month also. What helps us out a lot is we're able to help out different departments of the city. We are helping with the EMT basic training classes, and those guys come in, and ladies, and that helps with our attendance there. But then what else is really exciting is look at our circulation. We broke the 2,000 again, 3,135. So very excited about those numbers that are beginning to creep up once more. During the month of February, we issued 88 new library cards, and our computer usage was up 1,113. We had 23 programs for our birth all the way up to 99 plus, and our attendance for those programs was 492. Some of the information I'm going to tell you tonight is similar to the information that I gave last month, but I think it's important. United Way of Rutherford and Cannon counties is still doing our volunteer income tax assistant. They are there now until April the 1st, every Friday and Saturday. They start at 9, they take their last appointment at 1, and I'm so proud of them. Friday, when the electricity went off, they had already powered up their laptops, and so when the electricity went off, they kept going, and they finished up the people that they had. That's dedication. Let's see what else. Appointments are preferred, but a limited number of walk-ins will be accepted on availability during those hours of operations. And every Friday and Saturday, they have taken walk-ins. So you're welcome to come walk in and see. They try to get you right on in. There are some changes that are coming to Medicaid, TennCare. Representatives from Matthew Walker Comprehensive Health Care Center will be at the Laverne Public Library on Thursday, March the 16th, and that's to assist the community with renewals for Medicaid and TennCare, and this is a free service, no appointment necessary. Katrina with Matthew Walker Clinic comes every Tuesday and Thursday and sits in our gallery, and she has all these great resources for how to get insurance if you do not have insurance. She helps you find it. She has lots of resources for ways to get food, clothing, help with rent, things of this sort. And it's really great. She said so far she's been able to help about 8 families. So we're very excited about that. People who just walked in, saw her, went up, and received some help. And that's what the library is all about. We're there to help, we're there to entertain, and we're there to help with so many different resources. Hobo Road, our band, returns to the Laverne Public Library for another hour of music. This will be Saturday, March the 25th from 1 to 2. Last month, it was Stories Behind the Songs. This month, it is a little more rock and rollish. And so really excited about that. Not real sure, but Joan Jett may be showing up, and that would just be fantastic. So we're waiting to see. I heard she's been having another little knee issue, so we will see what happens there. You can discover more programs and resources by going to catalog.lavernetn.gov. And Glenn keeps us updated and on our catalog page, which is fantastic. Do you have any questions?
So, Ms. Donna, I couldn't happen to notice on the way in the damage to the library from the winds.
Yes.
To what extent is that?
It looks bad to me, but I took pictures. David has already contacted the person who helped get our roof on, put our roof on. I believe they're supposed to be coming out. Not real sure how bad it's. David, you want to help me out?
I think it's just a ridge cap that blew up. It doesn't look to be any shingle damages on that. So hopefully that'll get taken care of the next day or so.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say, the ridge cap. I was trying to think, you know, that metal thing that goes across the top, and I'm sure that wasn't what you wanted to hear. But, you know, we stood there and kind of watched it start peeling back. But it's not too extensive. I believe it can be taken care of quickly. And Andrew's on it with the insurance claim.
Wonderful.
The kiosk, the driver's license renewal, how's that been going?
It's doing really well. For a while there, it was just kind of limping along. We would have an issue about every other day, but knock on wood, there have been no issues for about 2 weeks now. Good. And still people are coming in to renew their license, get duplicates, update their address.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Moving on to finance, it's Tanya.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. I'm just going to recap. You have a copy of the financial report. In our general fund, revenue exceeded expenses by 1.9 million. In our local sales tax, revenue exceeded the budget by 2.2 million, and it was 1,074,000 above prior year. State street aid, revenue exceeded expenses by 303,000. Stormwater, expenses exceeded revenue by 31,000. And water and sewer, our revenue exceeded expenses by 6.9. On the second page is our current bank balances. The third page, our comparison to prior year. In the general fund, revenue was up 693,000. Expenses were up 2.8 million. Water and sewer fund, revenue was up 5.9. Expenses were up 347,000. And our water tap fee revenue was down 18,000. And I wanted to keep you up to date. As of today, we have collected 99.5% of our property tax for the year. Wow. We budgeted 8.4, and we have collected 8,354,000.
Wonderful.
Questions?
Tell Becky and Tristan, good job. Moving on to the water treatment plant, Mr. Dwayne Lowry.
I appreciate that very much, Mayor. It was worth a shot. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, I hope you've had the opportunity to review our monthly report. There's not too much of that took place at the water treatment plant this month, which is good for us. So, do you have any questions?
Yes, and either you or you can defer to Dwayne on this one. I know we've spoken about it, but I know some residents have reached out to me as to what, if any, effects the Ohio spill would have on our drinking water.
Yes, sir.
So you could go through that.
Yeah, with the way that the water flows, there should be zero impact from that. I can't say there won't be ever, never say never, right? But the way the water flows, it's a very minimal chance that anything of that sort could reach our waterway. That being said, our treatment process does handle that type of chemical. So with our activated carbon, we will be able to treat anything that would be able to come towards the water treatment plant.
The Ohio River does not flow directly into the Stones River. Stones River goes to the Cumberland. Cumberland goes to the Ohio, and then Ohio goes to the Mississippi. So for it to affect us, it had to backflow.
Yes, sir.
It had to backflow.
Yeah, and that's why I say the way the water flows. So I 100% correct.
The lower the water is at the lake, how does that affect the water treatment plant?
It hasn't affected us, which is good. So if we see any spike in turbidity, the plant hasn't reacted in a negative way.
I know the lake the water turns over.
Yes, sir.
They're saying it turns over, but the low water don't affect y'all none.
Not typically. If there's turbulence, it might kick up some mud or whatnot. We haven't seen anything of that sort at this time. The lake turnover typically happens a little bit later in between April and June.
I see red, Danny.
You do see a couple in red. We did get rid of one though. So the one of concern is high service pump number 2. That did happen last week. We did have Wascon out on site today. It looks like it might be a motor issue versus a pump, which is much better, easier to handle. So we're working on getting that quote, and we'll get that over to Bruce and Kyle and get that fixed and back online.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, second reading ordinance 2023-02, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 28, parcels 10 and 11, consisting of approximately 4.3 acres, located at 237 and 245 Cheney Boulevard, from an agricultural zoning district to a high-density zoning district. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on December 27th, 2022. A public hearing was held on February 7th, 2023. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Waldron. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Nay.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
No.
I vote aye. Motion passes. First reading ordinance 2023-03, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for a portion of tax map 18K, parcel A, Group A, that is, parcel 6, consisting of approximately 13.63 acres located near Wheeler Street and Jefferson Pike, from a light industrial zoning district to a heavy industrial zoning district. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on December 27th. A public hearing was held on February 7th, and to update, the applicant has withdrawn the request. The letter is attached in your packet, and the board can either deny the request or can notate the withdrawal so that we can have a paper trail.
I make a motion to accept the request to pull it.
Okay, I'll second that motion to accept the withdrawal. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to second reading ordinance 2023-04, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 State Street Aid Fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Our second. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Motion passes. Second reading ordinance 2023-05, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 general fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I'd like to make a motion for discussion.
We would need a motion and a second, and then it'd be open for discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, okay, open it up for discussion.
Yeah, I would like, do we have a timeline as far as when we would gather to discuss the budget?
Well, we're looking at the beginning of the next fiscal year, but if you look at the staff recommendation in your summary sheet, one of the things that staff recommends is that since we're not looking at this until the next fiscal year, that this be denied.
Well, the board won't adjourn to discuss the budget, is that?
No, this would
For
be
this fiscal
to,
year.
this is for the strategic planning retreat. This would be to plan out the next 3, 5, 10 years for the city. The regular budget meetings will take place in April. I want to say it's the 10th, 18th, and 24th that was sent out to the board.
Thank you for clarification.
Okay, so with that said, do we still want to move forward with the motion? We currently have a motion to approve it and a second. Do y'all still want to continue with your motions? Considering staff is recommending this be denied.
That's what I did, was to make a motion to deny it.
That's what.
You said approve.
I withdraw my motion.
Do you withdraw your second?
Yes, I make a motion to deny.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
On the second there, it's second reading on the ordinance to fiscal year budget. Now, what are we consistent of here? We're denying it and approving it, but explain to the people out there what's going on.
Well, this is a budget for the strategic planning retreat that we've discussed.
Okay.
And so this is something that was moved off just due to everything going on. There wasn't enough time to get everything planned out. So it is going to be basically readdressed next fiscal year. So with that, we have a motion to deny. We have a second. Alderman Waldron.
Abstain.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Approve.
Alderwoman Haas. On voting to deny it.
So,
But this doesn't mean that it can't come back up next year at a later time?
Correct.
Is that pretty much the cut and dry of it? Okay.
I approve to deny.
Okay. Vice Mayor, no?
So moved.
I vote aye. The denial passes. Moving on to the consent agenda, need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. Is there a second? Our second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Moving on to new business. Resolution 2023-05, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderwoman Haas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor No. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Moving on, Resolution 2023-06, a resolution to write off Water Department bad debts. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. Is there a second?
Second, yeah.
Second from Alderwoman Hobbs. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2023-07, a resolution to support restoring the historic revenue-sharing relationship between the state of Tennessee and its local governments and to return the local share of the single article cap to local governments. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor No. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
I vote aye. Resolution passes. Motion to approve real estate purchase and sale agreement with Noon Laverne Marketplace LLC to purchase a stormwater building located at 5175 Murfreesboro Road. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Mayor,
Motion.
If I could, I do want to comment on that. You have something in your packet there, that memo portion that makes some comments I do want to draw your attention to before you vote, just to make you aware that while since the last meeting and over the past several months, changes have been made to this contract, there is a provision in the contract that I do not approve, and that's provision 11A. If, I don't know, Glenn, I guess, are you driving the computer?
There you go.
Correct. And the buyers are aware that I don't approve this, and they have told me that this is what they want in there. So it's a provision that says that if the city defaults, or if the city's declared in default under this agreement, that the buyers have the ability to collect up to $65,000 against the city in their costs in the event that they're not able to close the deal due to a city's default. I pushed back against that, but they would not agree to remove that provision. So with that said, while I can't approve that provision, it's still ultimately up to you as a board whether or not you want to enter into this agreement. I just want you to be aware that that's one provision that I don't approve of.
But what they put in there on that $65,000, that's basically their out of pocket money, right?
Correct. So what it says is that they have the ability, if the city defaults, they have the ability to collect and require the city to pay up to $65,000.
That's if the city of Laverne defaults.
Correct. Right. Correct.
That's basically just, if you was on the other side, Evan, you would probably want that in there, wouldn't you?
Sure. I understand why they want it. That's not, yeah, for sure.
Okay, with that said, need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. I'll second it. Alderman Waldron.
Discussion before we vote on this.
Okay,
Yeah, who seconded?
I did.
Okay. Discussion, go ahead.
This has been laying hard on me, and I want to make sure. I would love nothing more than to someone to come up to the city and say, hey, we'll give you $1.5 million. That's fine, but are you going to give us the first time go around with some good retail and stuff? So my first person I'm going to go after here is Mr. Broker. He's our economic development person. Mr. Broker stands behind this. He's done the research. He's worked with these guys. And if we are not, as collectively as a board, going to trust and buy stock into our department heads to help us make decisions, then therefore I feel that we don't need department heads. My second thing that I'm going to ask about is, and I'm going to turn to Randolph, and don't mean to put you on the spot, sir, but just can you tell us about the building in two phases? The first phase is safety. The second thing is space.
Well, I put space ahead of safety in that building because because overall I think the building is relatively safe. I don't know that there's any real now when it comes to life safety, I guess I should say that's my bag. The safety of the building, it's still a good building, but there's a bit wrong throughout. You know, there's been some things done of late that just, you know, I mean it's deteriorating quickly. That's an older building, and buildings of that age, I'm finding as I've gotten older that buildings have life expectancy just like everybody else does. And it's needing a lot of work often, that we have spent money after money after money repairing this and that and the other, to a point now where it's not really, I don't think, feasible. But space being the biggest issue, I've got some need for personnel that I have absolutely nowhere to put them. As this city continues to grow as it is, our departments need to match the growth of the city. And it's been my need for quite some time to add some folks to my department, more so in the code enforcement side of things, as building has slowed down, obviously, due to some of the economy turned down. But it seems like that when one starts to fall behind, the other picks up, and we're really, really, really busy with code enforcement these days. And I would cherish having at least one, and there wouldn't hurt to have a third or a fourth, rather, I should say, in that department. I need some additional up front, some staff to help Connie and Missy with the work they do. I have nowhere to put an additional person up there. I mean, with the amount of walk-in that we receive, and I would challenge any one of y'all to come to my building and sit there all day long and just count the number of heads that walks in and out that door. And they all have needs. You know, they all are expecting on us to provide a higher level of service. And you know, a lot of times I've been called up there to that lobby, and when I get there, there's so many people in that lobby, I don't know which ones I'm directed to go help. I mean, it's oftentimes Connie will just point that way or this way, and I'm like, okay, cool, I know where I'm going. So it would help to have just the space alone. I mean, you can walk down either one of those halls over there, and there's plans everywhere, especially in my end of the deal. I mean, I don't believe in getting rid of a building plan, because at some point in time, somewhere down the road, that building plan is going to be needed. I know it will be. I've done that before. So I'm reluctant to get rid of any building plan. I hope that someday we can go more into the paperless side of things, but right now I don't have the room to make that happen on the walls within that building anywhere, to make it so that I can eliminate a lot of the paper product that comes in there and be able to review and look at job, you know, building plans and so forth on a bigger scale on the wall. I'm old school. I like to take my plans, I like to roll them out, I like to look at them, I like to stand over them, I like to point at them. I don't see me, you know, doing this much, but I guess I'm making that provision for the next generation as they migrate into what myself and some of the older folks in my department do. But I would put space above anything else. We've outgrown it, and as I said, as the city continues to grow, so will the needs be for a codes department, for stormwater, for engineering, planning. I know that planning, I mean, they don't have the room that they need as well as I don't. So it's space, and it is like I said, the building the building's not in terrible shape, but it's not in the best of shape either.
It's kind of in between. What about?
Here's the thing. I wouldn't throw a big investment toward that building, because you're throwing good money, in my opinion, after bad at that building. As far as any type of major repairs goes, we're just not looking at doing any huge major repairs right now, because, like I say, that building, it was the post office for how long, Alderman Waldron? You're as well as familiar with that as anyone in this room.
It opened in 1980.
See, so it's got age to it. We've had new roof put on it. We've had lots done to it. They've come work on the AC. They're routinely at our building throughout the summer months.
As the city grows, as you say, how does that, in your opinion only, and there again, you're a department head, so I buy a lot of stock in the department heads. I like to, you guys are out there, you're the worker bees. In your opinion, with the way the city's growing, how do you feel about that particular business being right there on Murfreesboro Road? Do you feel that affects people coming in or anything?
They're going to find us regardless of where we are, if it's Murfreesboro Road or over on the roundabout. I mean, when you need a permit, and you need it now, you're gonna find us regardless of where we are in the city. To be quite honest with you, I don't really like being right there on Murfreesboro Road. I just don't like the fact that we're entering and exiting out of that parking lot into such traffic, and y'all, there's lots of traffic on Murfreesboro Road. Again, I challenge anyone of you to come out and stand outside my building for about half a day, and you just jaw drop, you know, at the amount of vehicles that goes by daily from start to finish. But, I mean, being on Murfreesboro Road, you know, we're about as visible, I guess, as any other building, I guess, that we get a lot of, you know, folks come to our building thinking that they're at the clerk's office, you know, the motor vehicle clerk's office, or they're coming in to buy stamps, or there's a lot of people that come to our building that just don't know what we are. And so, of course,
I can see that.
You know, we've had folks come in wanting to get marriage licenses, renew their tags, and get passports and everything else. Like I said, and just list all the services that the court, not the court, but the county clerk's office does throughout. They come to our building with you know, where can I get my passport renewed? Where can I get my driver's license renewed? Where can I do this? Where can I do that? And of course, we direct them to where they need to be.
All right, thank you, Randolph. I remember, I don't know the exact year, 2014, 15, something like that. I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know what the cause was, but I did talk with Mr. Broker, and there was a time that the city had an opportunity to have Hobby Lobby, TJ Maxx, Shoe Carnival, and for one reason or another, whether it was the board, whether it was we didn't have an IDB, we didn't have any of that stuff. Those are now sitting over in Smyrna because Smyrna got wind of it and they got them. So in this case, in my opinion, we may lose a little bit on the front, but to me, we've got a bird in the hand as opposed to two in a bush. And the gentleman said that he would do the first generation thing. People are begging for retail. We have an opportunity for that to happen. Is there anything guaranteed? No, there's nothing guaranteed. But if we turn our backs on these people and they're wanting to come in, and there again, I believe in Mr. Broker. He's been doing this a long time. He works his butt off for it. And he thinks it's a good idea. But yes, maybe we're going to lose a little bit of money, but we're getting almost what it's praised for. Now, if you want to look at the guarantee and what ifs, well, then let's take it a step farther. What if the economy tanks and that building ends up being worth nothing? It's a what if. Now, you know, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There's no way of knowing. I don't think anybody can say, I guarantee it. But that's my thoughts.
Well, what the deal is like my uncle would say if he was still sitting up here, he said it would sound like we're getting the wagon in front of the horse. The Hobby Lobby and stuff, that's a completely different deal. Even if Hobby Lobby wanted to come in here, it's not enough room to come in there. It's going to be at least a gas station or a fast food up front. And there's no room for a gas station, so it's a fast food. In the back, it's probably a strip mall like we've got. But that doesn't count. The deal is on the table to sell this property for less than it's worth, or don't sell it. And we have got into a routine of selling city property for less than it's worth. They said they need more room. Regardless if we sell this or not, Public Works is going to move over there by the roundabout. That's been planned for 7 or 8 years. If we don't sell the old post office, they're still going to move. This is not selling the post office, not going to keep them from moving. That's something been planned for years and years. But we have got into a routine of selling property less than the value I own property just right up the street, half this size, and I wouldn't sell my property for that price. And I'm not gonna vote to sell public, property for what I wouldn't do for myself. I'd say the property's probably worth $1.5 million. This deal's gonna pass probably 3 to 2. Like I told the guy in the workshop, congratulations, you got a bargain.
Any other discussion?
In addition, I still have concerns about the appraisal being 18 months old. I really think that we could benefit from getting the property reappraised. In terms of Mr. Broker, I mean, I do value his opinion, but at the same time, it would have been helpful to have some kind of statistical analysis to determine best, worst-case scenarios as far as retail tax revenue there. I mean, just last month, we voted because we were concerned about $11,000 with the Piedmont right-of-way property, that we wanted to get a new appraisal on that. So here we are talking about, you know, $25,000, and we're just kind of going to give it away. I don't know that I can support that either. And again, with, you know, Mr. Cope's concerns with the $65,000, I don't know that I can get behind this either.
Any other discussion?
Is that pretty much, Evan, is that pretty much something that's standard in a lot of deals when you're doing things like this?
It is. It is not unusual for people to put the terms in terms of, like, if they're out money and the deal falls through, it's not unusual to have some language in there that allows them to recoup it. What I think may be problematic with this one is that, for example, if the city defaults, the most that we could ever hope to recoup, if the buyer defaults, meaning if the deal falls through because the buyer has done something to breach the contract, the most the city could recover is the $5,000 in earnest money, so basically nothing. And so it's sort of a lopsided result in the end when you look at if the city defaults, they could collect up to $65,000. If the buyer defaults, they're capped at $5,000. So, you know, but to answer your question, it's not unusual to have the ability to recoup that. In this case, I just don't think, I'm not comfortable signing off on this, but that's why it's here in front of you guys, because ultimately it's your decision. I just don't want to sign off on it if something were to happen later on with it.
Why would the city default on it? I just don't understand that.
Well, hopefully no one would default on a contract, but I don't know. I mean, I could think of different scenarios. I guess they could come back and say, I don't know. I mean, there are ways for people to default on contracts. I can't think of a specific example right now.
I hear everybody going in different directions, the codes department, retail, but the bottom line is, you know, we're selling property for less than the value of it. It's not good in a sense, in my hand, to sell something for $1.5 million for what are we getting? 900,000, 800,000? You know, for almost half the price. I know if the city went to buy stuff, we usually have to pay appraised value, above appraised or market value, and property on Murfreesboro Road. If you've been following it for the last 2 or 3 years, it's been going 30 and 40% over appraised. Appraisal is not worth the paper it's written on. The auction and the people's paying more than the appraised. So appraised don't mean nothing.
What would be Bruce? What would be a default situation?
You know, I have to agree with Evan. I can't think of a reason why the city would default on an agreement like this. So I really can't answer that question. It would have to do something with codes or some reason that we would have to back out, and I don't know what that would be.
But even in this situation, it would have to be up to codes and planning and everything, and that would be under the law. They couldn't say we defaulted if it was by codes up to, you know, all the strategic planning of it and everything.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be anything like that.
All right. You know, I'm hearing different scenarios, defaulting. You know, that shouldn't make no difference. The root of the matter is we're selling the property for almost half what it's worth.
So with that, any other discussion? Alderman Waldron.
No.
Alderwoman Hobbs?
No.
Alderwoman Haas?
Yes.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Motion to approve an agreement with Ralph Anderson and Associates for recruitment services for the police chief position. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. Alderman Waldron.
Abstain.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Motion to award a bid for the construction of the Public Works and Community Development Services facility. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor
I
No.
second on discussion.
Second from Alderman Waldron.
I've got a lot of feedback on this. Finance Director, I'm gonna pick on you. It says $25 million. Can you tell me right offhand of where all that money's coming from? If it's gonna be borrowed, bonded out, used for different departments?
That is in your packet, and it's broken down 30% out of the general fund, 15 from stormwater, and 55 from the water sewer fund, and all that's right there
I
in
know
your
it's in the
packet.
package, but the people out there watching it, they don't have a package. How much of it's gonna be borrowed? It's
None.
gonna be all paid cash out of city funds.
Yes, sir.
We got the money in the bank in different categories.
Yes, this will be coming out of fund balance.
With that, we have a motion and a second. Alderman Waldron.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Nay.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Now we move on to the appoint or remove board and committee members. First, we have got the Beautification and Arts Advisory Committee. We have one vacancy. We have two applicants, and I will appoint Daphne Baker to this board. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we've got the Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals. We've got one term that expired, and we've got one applicant, Jeff Moss. So just need a motion to appoint this individual.
I make a motion to appoint Jeff Moss.
Have a motion to appoint Jeff Moss. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
And then last, we've got the Local Emergency Planning Committee. We've got two vacancies, and staff is going to recommend that the police position remain unfilled until we have a new police chief hired. And then I will appoint Tanya Williams to fill the Finance Department position. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Moving on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Waldron.
See what I got here. Well, I was right again on the voting, 3-2. Anybody wants to borrow my crystal ball, it's up for grabs. Check on the elderly. Make sure your pets have fresh water and shade. That's it.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
I just wanted to make mention of the Laverne Rescue Unit will host its Country Ham Breakfast this Saturday from 6 to 10 a.m. Please come out and help raise money for a great cause. Thank you.
Alderwoman Haas.
As of today, on the baseball softball signups, we've had 132 children sign up for the league, so that is really great for a first time. They right now opening is scheduled for April 15th. It may be moved back a week because we moved back the signups a week. So thank you all for coming out and signing your children up. It's going to be a great season, and it would be wonderful if the community would come out and support our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor No.
No, sir.
Wow. Well, first off, I will.
Did I steal your thunder?
Well, I want to start off by saying we all look forward to both opening day for the baseball softball league as well as our Easter celebration So many kids come out, have a great time with that, and so we're looking forward to that. Do want to address a couple of comments from last month. It was stated that there's no checks and balances between hiring decisions and the board, and everyone on this board was given a copy of the Alderman handbook, and it has information as far as where to find our charter, our municipal codes. If you've read through that, you'll see there is a checks and balance system, and so it just takes time and effort to read through and understand the authority of the board and the authority of the mayor. So it just takes time to do that. As far as any questionable leadership questions, regardless of whether planning commission is appointed by the mayor. So board members sit at the pleasure of the mayor. If you look through the packets for the applicants, you can see the experience level for all of them whenever people are applying. And if you take the time to read through your packet, you would see that. And then whenever it comes to past alderman appointments due to vacancies, it's all opinion. If people, get upset because their friends aren't appointed, that's on them. Not everyone can be appointed. Everyone qualified. Looking at the experience level, none of them had past elected official positions, so that's one thing they need to really look at whenever you're trying to determine as far as qualifications and experience. When it comes to everything that has happened over the last month with our police, our concerns there, it very much cracks me up that rather than being focused for this board on how do we prevent this from happening again, the question was asked about whether I'm moral or ethical in the way this was reported and how this was communicated. So I don't think they quite understand exactly what's going on and the severity of it. I would honestly say people here, especially for our newer board members, you have two choices. You can either be an effective leader here, or you can be here for yourself, and in 4 years, that's the end of it. So with that, call this meeting adjourned.